Hello and welcome to a special episode of JumpCast, the podcast from the award-winning team behind JumpCast Online. My name is Dave Curtis, and your host for today's episode. And today I'm joined by Holly.
Hiya.
And making her pod debut is Billie.
Hi.
And on this episode we will be reviewing Just Mercy, the new film starring Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx. But first of all, I think we should just get straight to the news that, well, it's been a pretty slow week to be honest, but this is the big one that's dropped into my lap and I just couldn't wait to talk about it. And then I mentioned it to my colleagues and they haven't seen the film. So this is brilliant. But
Good start.
I feel called out.
yeah, but we'll get into that in a minute. But okay, basically this week it was announced in the Hollywood Reporter. It was actually in an article about Bad Boys 4, about the writer about that. But apparently the writer, Chris Brumner, has been scheduled in to be the writer of National Treasure 3, which is amazing because I've been waiting for this movie for about 13 years. And every few years there's always been a slight bit of information or a teaser that it's going to be made or released, or Jerry Bruckheimer has said something, or Nicolas Cage has said something. And it's I can't wait. But Holly,
Yep.
How have you not seen this movie before? Or
Honestly,
there's two of them.
I've heard of it, but I couldn't even tell you what the synopsis is of it. And actually, now that you said Nicolas Cage, that it does ring a bell, but I've definitely not seen it. So I don't know why it just hasn't my life in this film, the paths just haven't crossed at all. I don't think my parents ever watched it when I was growing up or anything. Like, when was so there's been two, so when was the first one?
There's been two. 2004.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, I imagine them being a lot older than that. I don't know why. So, okay, I have no excuse really, because I was 8 in 2004. So, I mean,
Me too.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what the movies are like,
Oh.
or, whether they're like kid friendly or whatever. But yeah, I've just never. Never.
They're very kid friendly. They're like they came out, I think, after the Pirates of the Caribbeans, and Disney and Jerry Bruckheimer were trying to search out for like another franchise.
Oh.
So there was like at the same time there was the Prince of Persia, or the Sorcerer's Apprentice, or the Lone Ranger, and he had a load of misfires, to be honest, those ones. But yeah, this one, National Treasure, it starred Nicolas Cage being brilliant. It had Diane Kruger. It had John Bamford in it. Harvey Keitel. The first one's got Sean Bean playing a bad guy. The second one's got Ed Harris being a bad guy. They're a lot of fun. They're pretty stupid, I think. I don't think
Good cast.
I don't think the history holds out, but I would strongly recommend this. And they surprisingly they both made pretty decent money. And for the last, like I said, 13 years, it just hasn't happened, and I don't know why. And there's a big following on the internet somewhere, always like trying to get the thing moving, or petitions to get a thing started. But to get this actual news that there is a writer on board is pretty big for us National Treasure fans. I'm not quite sure we have a name. To be
How
honest.
many of you are there?
It's you and no one else.
Millions.
So do you know anything
good,
else
but-
about the movie, or is it just that it's got a writer now?
That's literally, and it's got Jerry Bruckheimer.
Oh, right, okay.
Attached as the producer, but I'm sure it's going to be it's always about some history and American history, and I'm not quite sure it's always plausible, but there's normally a lot of running and shouting and jumping, and things collapse and they go underground at some point, and at some point there's something gets flooded, and it's
Sounds a little bit like Indiana Jones to me.
it's very much like Indiana Jones,
Okay.
but
When I was
for a new
watching the
generation.
trailer, it looked like the Goonies, but with loads more explosions.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
That's a good way of saying it.
Yeah.
And these are both good things. And it's on literally every Christmas, both of them.
Oh.
Really? I don't know how this has never crossed paths with me.
It's making me feel old that you said you were 8 when the first one came out.
How old were you?
2004. I was 18, 19, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
We're just babies.
Probably
Melissa.
too old.
Baby's Billy. So I literally almost called you
Yeah.
Melissa because on your Twitter you're Billy Melissa.
I made
So
the
bad.
mistake of doing that because now people use it as like a thing to address me. No one's ever used my middle name until like I went to uni, and then it was my first name for a really long time, and I just like dropped myself in it now. It's
Oh
too
my
late
God.
to go back.
You've got to live with it.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'll have a whole new identity.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, go watch National Treasure, you two.
Okay, I'll put it on
and
my
then
list.
we can do. It should be right at the top.
I'm interested though
and then-
because it's directed by the director of Cool Runnings, and I love Cool Runnings.
Yes, and he also directed The Meg recently.
No way, I didn't
Jason
know.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know they were the
It's got-
same.
and it's a bit of glow trotting. In the second one, they go to London, and you hear some brilliant accents, and they go to Paris, and they break into Buckingham Palace and stuff. And actually, I'm getting spoilers now. Just ignore that.
No spoilers.
But National Treasure 3 for us fans coming, it's pretty exciting. I really wanted it to happen for a long time, and I've given up hope, and now they've just given me a little bit of hope that it might actually happen. I mean, how old is Nicolas Cage now? About 60?
Is he actually? Oh my
How
God.
old? Oh.
I don't want to put him up there, but he must be nearly that, probably.
Oh.
Sorry, Nicholas, if you're listening.
Sorry if you're not. Sorry if he's really like 40 years old.
Oh my God. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
a look. I'm really curious. Nicolas Cage.
I think he's definitely in higher 50s.
He is 56. Yeah.
Not quite 60.
So
Okay.
almost getting
Not
there.
quite 60.
I feel bad slightly, but
Overaging him.
The first time I visited death row, I wasn't expecting to meet somebody the same age as me. From a neighborhood just like ours. Could have been me, Mama.
But what you're doing is gonna make a lot of people upset.
You always taught me to fight for the people who need the help the most. Your life is still meaningful, and I'm gonna do everything possible to keep them from taking it. You don't know what you're into down here in Alabama when you're guilty from the moment you're born.
after graduating from Harvard, Brian Stevenson heads to Alabama to defend those wrongly condemned or those not afforded proper representation. One of his first cases is that of Walter McMillan, who is sentenced to death in 1987 for a murder of an 18-year-old girl, despite evidence proving his innocence. In the years that follow, Stevenson encounters racism and legal and political maneuverism as he tirelessly fights for McMillan's life. This is directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who's previously directed Short Term 12 and The Glass House, which both starred Brie Larson. This cast consists of Michael B. Jordan, Jamie Foxx, Brie Larson, Rob Morgan, Tim Blake Nelson, Rafe Small, and O'Shea Jackson Jr. And I have to say, I really enjoyed this film. I'm going to go straight to you, Billy, on your views.
Oh, no.
I'm going to throw you right in the deep end.
No.
Yeah. What did you make of this? Of Just Mercy?
I think the first time I saw it, I was just really, really shocked because, I mean, it was a late addition to LFF, and I hadn't heard anything about it except that everyone at TIFF loved it. And so I went into it completely blind and obviously was just completely shocked by what I'd just seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know, like, I know that the argument is that, like, it's just a very safe movie, but I don't really see that, personally.
I agree with you. I thought it had an important message in it as well, and it has a strong performances.
I mean, the performances make it, obviously. I think especially without Rob Morgan and Tim Blake Nelson and Jamie Foxx, without their performances, it could easily fall flat. But I think especially Rob Morgan and, you know, his show-stopping scene.
I'll ask Holly, what did you think of Just Mercy as well?
Yeah, really, really good. It wasn't on my radar at LFF, and I was only there actually for a few days anyway. But I saw Just Mercy 2 weeks ago yesterday because Odeon did Screen Unseen. I think Screen Unseen. I went, and actually, Billy, I saw your tweets that you wrote that you thought it was going to be Just Mercy on that night. So I was like, that's really cool. No, it was really cool because I was like, 'cause I had no idea And then, Billy, I saw your tweets. I was like, okay, if it is that, that's really good, because I think I'd seen a trailer for it or read something about it and thought it looked good. I was blown away by it. Very, very emotional, and like you guys said, like just everyone's just crying, especially after that one that one scene, Rob Morgan scene. It went quiet, and then you could hear like so many sniffles like around the auditorium, including me. I was just like really trying to keep it together, but yeah, really, really hard hitting. I mean, if people are calling it a safe film, I think it's not like it's not like really stylish. It's like there's nothing in regards to like cinematic technique that's really like mind-blowing or really like noteworthy, but I don't think that's important for a film like this, because it's the story that's important and it's the message. And actually, if you make it really, really like stylish or whatever, then that takes away from the story it's trying to tell. So, but no, I thought it was brilliant, really, really good.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Do you feel like maybe Michael B. Jordan was a little bit out of his depth compared to like some of the other names you said, like Rob Morgan and Jamie Foxx and Tim Blake Nelson?
I think the thing is, sorry, go ahead.
I just think it's some of the scenes, like those three in particular, were standing up and being so good that sometimes his performance, and maybe that was the way he approached it, there was just a little bit in the background, but
I think it's hard to, because I mean, seeing Bryan Stevenson speak, it's so hard to capture his essence, and there's just something about him that is completely unique, and to not want to do an impersonation, because I think it's so hard to have to play someone who not only has existed but is still alive today. It's super hard to, and I don't know, there's something so unique about him, you just couldn't capture it. And so I think I know what you mean about his performance feeling a little bit more understated, but that being said, it's that Bryan is so gracious as a person. I feel like he was trying to do the same thing for the actors around him.
I thought Michael B. Jordan was really, really good. There were like a couple of moments where I didn't quite believe it, and I obviously I personally think Jamie Foxx had the best performance and Rob Morgan, actually, they both were incredible. Yeah. But I do think that Michael B. Jordan did match them for most of the film. Maybe a couple of moments where there was a bit of a gap between what they were bringing to the scene. But no, I thought he was brilliant in it.
Do you think that the film got the message across that it wanted to put across, or do you think it was slightly, what's the word I'm looking for? Not dodgy, but but do you think it went hard enough?
Yes.
If you know what I mean, because this is such a serious subject, and this is such a subject that's quite important nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's good that people are shining a light on it, like this film. And have you guys read the book? Either of you? I know.
No.
Have you?
Yeah, I have.
Is it like the book, or is it told like this, or is it just is it told from Stevenson's point of view?
There's two versions. There's an adapted version for young adults, and then there's also just the longer version. But it's the I think it's more based around the young adult one, because it focuses only on Walter, whereas the book has a lot more like legal facts in it, as well as more stories, not just based around around Jamie Foxx's character. But I think for me, like, seeing it and reading it is just as devastating. I don't think one is particularly stronger than the other, to be honest. But like I said, there's something about the way Bryan puts it, because it's so first-hand experience for him, that is hard to translate onto screen, I think.
I still can't get over that this is a real story, because it's at one point when I think it's one of the appeals, I think we should probably say, we might go into slight spoilers here, guys, when all the evidence points to him being cleared or not guilty, and I was like, I can't believe that the judge sat there and was like, no, no, he's still guilty, take him back to prison. At that point, my heart broke for the man, and the film, I think, did an excellent portrayal of the whole feeling of the whole community.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, I think they portrayed that really well. How tight knit that community was, and how much support Walter had.
Yeah.
I thought the scene also in when Brian or Michael B. Jordan went to the house for the first time and they all sat round.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was absolutely brilliant. To be honest, and I think with the family and them, I thought it was so powerful.
Yeah, I agree with you because, like you said, I can't believe it's a real story. For me, I don't know if you guys ever learnt about the death penalty in school, but we had like one class on it in Year 9, and so it kind of became this thing that I just thought didn't exist anymore. And so, yeah, when I saw it on the LFF, I was like, how does this not only like exist, like 20, 30 years ago, it still exists to this day, and they still have cases that are identical to this one and have not learned a single thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Is it still legal in some states in America?
Yeah, I think
I believe so.
It's quite a few, especially in the South.
Mm.
Yeah, no, at school I didn't learn anything about death penalty or anything like that.
I thought you were going to stop it. I didn't learn anything.
I learned.
I thought you were going to stop there. I was like, okay.
Oh,
It was a different time. No, but I think it's a piece of history, or not just history, because obviously it's still going today, that people should be made aware of massively, because it's just not right to be in the end of the day.
No.
It didn't, because a little bit, didn't he get sent to prison, like death row, without even being taken to court in the first?
Yeah, they put him there for 15 months, I think it was, without a trial, and then they had the trial and sent the jury gave him life without parole, and the judge override it and put him to death anyway.
Oh my!
It's just awful.
Wow. Yeah, I actually cried in two bits when I watched it. I like the bit you said, the Rob Morgan scene, which we should probably talk about, and also at the end when, oh god, again spoiler, he's actually released, found not guilty. Finally, I couldn't help myself. I just cried. By saying that, I pretty much cry everything nowadays, it seems. So
I'm such an easy crier, but it did get me in a different way.
What, both those scenes, or
just the whole thing?
Would there be any negatives for you for the film, or one of my negatives is, and this is a silly one, Jamie Foxx's Tash right at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Such a random thing to pick apart.
It was too high on his face. I felt.
But now that you say it, actually, yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm gonna have to rewatch
and I know
the trailer.
And I know from the whole film, it's such a serious subject. It's such an important film. That's what I took out of the first 10 minutes. I just couldn't really concentrate because I thought he was in disguise, and I thought that's why he was kind of hiding.
Okay.
All right, okay, I get it. Yeah.
I didn't just think he had like a stupid tash,
I think it was
but
meant
just
to be
honest.
A nod to how it physically changes you as well. But I see what you mean. Yeah, it could seem a bit ridiculous.
But any other negatives?
I think for me, and this is not even, I don't even know if it's really negative, but maybe the pacing was a little bit off at times. I don't know, it kept getting to a point, it kept building up, and then I thought, it seems like it's going to end here, and then it went again 10 more minutes and then built up, and then it felt like it was going to end there, and I was kind of is it what's happening? It just, I don't know, it didn't quite sit right with me. Yeah.
I felt like that the second time I watched it, because it had been such a long gap, and then I remember the second time I watched it, the Rob Morgan scene came around so much quicker than I remember. And I don't know if it's because the first time I really knew nothing and I was just enjoying every moment, but I was kind of anticipating that scene again. And it came so quickly. It's actually really quite early in the film, because it's 2 hours 4 minutes. Is that right?
It's on IMDb. It says 2 hours 17 minutes.
Oh, is it really
wow.
that long?
Okay,
I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah,
It is
I
quite
think
long.
it was like
It could have done with maybe being tightened up a little bit.
Maybe
The runtime, but
I agree. I think it slightly overstayed its welcome. The pacing was just a little bit off for me. But again, when you've got that much history to go into and that much detail and that much message to get across, then maybe it's best not to rush it.
yeah, definitely.
Because then you're not giving the subject matter the respect it deserves, to be honest.
Yeah. I know that Brian didn't want to make the movie. And so I think maybe, no, he really didn't want to do it because he's not the kind of person who does things. He thought it could be maybe taken in the wrong way in regards to him and his work. But it was really about getting the message across. And maybe that has something to do with it. The pacing feeling a little bit off. He probably didn't want it to seem like, Hollywood glamorized version of the truth.
From the outside, this sometimes, if you're looking at it, people might just think this is Oscar bait kind of.
Yeah, I guess. But the Oscars are quite racist. So
Clearly taking no notice of it because it's what.
Actually, that's
only,
so true.
SAG Awards who even noticed the film giving nominating Jamie Foxx
but
for
it's
supporting
Warner
actor, and then
Brothers
they didn't even win. So it's like, well, he should have won.
Oh,
Sorry.
I know. Oh, I agree. 100%.
He was great in this. You sometimes forget how good Jamie Foxx can be when he's actually given a decent script and decent film to be in. He's so subtle in this. He doesn't ever. There's nothing showy about his performance. It's just he's so calm in so many situations when I would absolutely be going absolutely mental. Do you know if that's what Walter Macmillan was like in real life at all, or?
I think that's how he's written anyway by Brian. I think he did just become cynical because of there's the line at the beginning where he's like, you don't know what it's like when you're guilty from the moment you were born. I think Walter actually had said that himself, and I think that it's just a version of like cynicism and feeling. But he is just like you can see the hope underneath all the cynicism. And I think the discussions they had and the friendship they built, I think it is pretty close to, without being an imitation, I think it's as close as he could get.
Yeah, I think they were my favourite parts is when they were talking to each other just across the table. I think that's some fantastic bits of dialogue as well. Mm-hmm. And it brings out the best in both of them, especially Jordan when he's opposite Fox. I think that's when Michael B. Jordan really shines, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
In this film.
Yeah.
It does something when you've got a man of that caliber acting opposite you, then it must bring out.
Yeah.
You must raise your game.
Which is why I think it's so ridiculous that he's been so ignored this season, because the definition of a supporting actor is to support the main actor, not like steal the scene. He does everything he can to give over to, like you said, he highlights all the good parts of Michael B. Jordan's performance. So I don't know. For me, I think it's pretty ridiculous he's being.
I think it's all the good bits of the film as well come from Jamie Foxx.
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
all the bits in the prison.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's a little bit questionable why he hasn't been at least more talked about in coming up for the awards, because I've literally heard nothing.
Yeah, because I thought it
Warner
might
Brothers.
be like I was thinking it might have been because it came out quite late, like at the end of December. But then so has like 1917 has literally only just come out, and it's been nominated for everything. I mean, I don't know if it came out in the US before here, but can't imagine.
A little bit before here.
Oh, right,
it came out on Christmas Day in the US, but
do
you mean 1917? I don't know.
Yeah,
1917. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
But have you seen? It's a bit of a tangent, but Richard Jewell.
Yeah.
No.
And the one that Kathy Bates has been nominated for.
Yeah, that's not
for a Best Supporting Actress
next week.
Well, I think next week.
Or this.
And no disrespect to Kathy Bates, it's a very good performance.
Yeah.
But it's no way probably on this level, which I don't know if that's a weak category this year of supporting actresses, which I don't think it is, to be honest.
No, there's so many to pick from.
So many, yeah. Oh my God, yes, J-Lo, massively. That literally makes me angry every time I think about it.
Yeah, with Richard Jewell
So-
as well, it was one of those things where it's like, what everyone on Twitter was like, "Oh, has anyone heard of this film? Like, what is this? Can you explain?" Because it got nominated, and everyone was like, "What?"
Every year there's one film that's like that, and I think this year it is Richard Jewell.
Definitely.
It's such a shame it's not this one.
I know, I wish. But it's because Warner Brothers has Joker to handle as well, and they've been too busy promoting that.
The Tom,
Skipped over, I think.
I think, yeah, somehow this has, the marketing hasn't been brilliant.
No,
I don't think it's on a huge amount of screens, to be honest, around the country. It's definitely not on my one near me.
It's not in my local Cineworld. But they had the unlimited screening, which I find even more ridiculous.
That's what I went to, was an unlimited screening.
Okay,
that's why I go to the unlimited screenings, because sometimes you won't get that film again at your screen. So it was, I was like, oh yeah, definitely go and see that, because I was meant to catch it at London Film Festival. So it's a shame that it's not being pushed or given more marketing. Saying that, I think Jamie Foxx and Michael B. Jordan were on Graham Norton the other day. So
yeah, they've been doing a great job of promoting it themselves if no one else is going to do it for them.
Yeah, when you got two leading men like that with so much charisma, sell them.
Yeah, and it's such a vital story. Like, if anything's going to be shown everywhere in the UK, it should be this, especially because it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy for us to kind of turn a blind eye to it and be like, "Oh, well, it's in America. It's not relevant," but it is, and it's like there's so much in that film that I had just didn't know about at all. So
I think so many people watch it. So many people watch it and not think it's actually real life, which will be the saddest thing about it. Like, this is actually happening. It's happened. It's definitely worth your time to go and watch a film like this to at least educate yourself that the world is still this shit. So, and it's amazing that this has got such a strong cast as well, because like we haven't even mentioned Brie Larson yet.
Oh yeah, of course.
Or O'Shea Jackson Jr. or Rafe
so
Spall.
great in it.
Such little parts which form such a strong film. Like Tim Blake Nelson's great.
He's one of the best, I think. He made me cry in his scenes.
Oh yeah? Which scenes in particular?
The one when he's I think it's his second chat with Brian, and he asked for the Coke and the Juji fruits from the vending machine. I don't know why, but it really got to my heart, and I was like, it was the first thing I think I cried at in the film.
I couldn't believe, I thought, and at the end they show a picture of the guy he plays, and he literally looks identical.
Yeah,
to
if
him.
you watch the
it's actually a little bit scary
because he's in the 60-minute. There's the section in the film that's the 60-minute.
Oh yes, yeah.
The real one is on YouTube. It's about 15 minutes long, and he is identical to him. His voice, the way he looks, everything about it's so crazy. And the lip thing he did, that was like no prosthetic or anything. He did that by himself for the whole performance.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's amazing. This film is just not being seen. No. But Rob Morgan as Herbert Richardson, his scene, we should say he's being put to death for a crime he committed, and he kind of admitted it. He put a bomb on a woman's front porch, didn't he? But but he was currently had PTSD. But I think at that time it wasn't really a thing, or wasn't taken seriously. And obviously, him being a black man in that county, he was guilty even before the jury had their say. Yeah. And when he gets taken to death row, it's just incredible. All the other the inmates, that they must be above him or below him. Is that how this prison works?
Above him?
I think they were in that, but in the film, I think they're above him, because you can see it coming through the vent above.
The vent above, and they're all hitting the drink, the cups, the bars, and letting him know that he's not alone through this horrible, horrible time. And it's just it's really peaceful. Like I said earlier, I shed a few tears towards it. But.
That is the one scene that out of the whole film, that's the one scene that's really, really stuck with me since I saw it. And it's something that I don't think I'll ever forget in for the rest of my life, because it was so long and drawn out, and it was like every second counted, and it was just like, oh, it's so harrowing. And then you had the song, the last song that he wanted to hear played over the radio, like over the stereo, and it's like you're watching this like how did this actually happen? How has this ever been allowed to happen? And especially with his issues with mental health and PTSD, and I was reading about Herbert Richardson actually on the Equal Justice Initiative website, and it's really sad because they just didn't take any of that into account, because he had suffered a lot of trauma when he was a child, and then obviously he was in the Vietnam War, and then suffered all the PTSD and mental health issues after that, and just none of that was taken into account, and he was tried by an all-white jury, so he was just doomed from the beginning. Really, it was really, really sad.
It's so tragic. But one thing I really love about that scene is it gives him, as a person, the dignity that he never got in real life. It was like returning the power back to him almost, because it was very much about how he was going through it and not about how everyone else was going through it. And I think that's why it made me cry. Not only is it so disturbing to watch, it really felt like, oh, he's getting the dignity that he wasn't allowed.
Even thinking about it now, it just gives me like a chills in the back of my neck, and it makes me feel very sad. And so it's not a cheery movie, to be honest, until probably the last 5 minutes. There's parts when it gives you hope and you think the world's going to be a better place and everyone's going to come out all right, and then it tears you down. But yeah, so would you recommend this film, obviously, to people? Because obviously I keep saying obviously, people are going to have to go and try and find this film. It's not going to come to their local cinema. Do you think it's worth their time?
Absolutely, yeah. I think, out of everything that's on right now, I mean, you can go see whatever you like, it's free will, whatever, but I think this is something that is like, it's above all, it's educational, and I think it's so important to consider what it's saying and how that, the systematic oppression of Black people, how it's still happening, not just in death, not just through like things like death sentences, but through everything else. Like there's a scene where Brian gets pulled over, I think, by the police for absolutely no reason, and like he literally just asks them, "Oh, why are you pulling me over?" And they react so violently, shoving me in the car.
He writes about that in the book. That really happened.
Did he write about the first time he went to the jail?
Yeah, that's the opening of the book.
That is horrible. Literally horrible.
Do you mean the first time, like the very first scene? When
he's made to take all his clothes off, basically.
Oh yeah, that's horrible.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's that story is actually really interesting because it kind of has more of a development in the book than it does. Like that police guard has his own arc in the book that's different from the.
Oh really?
In the film,
I might have to go and hunt myself the book because that.
But you can actually read. He's done quite a few talks, and he talks about it in those as well.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, well, kind of a version of the prison guard that kind of felt bad about doing it, or you could see throughout the film.
Yes.
That's essentially the guy that it's based on.
Oh, is that the guy that kind of looks like a low-budget Ryan Gosling? That's all I could think. That's all I could think about when I was looking at him. I was like, he looks like a low-budget Ryan Gosling. I don't know if it's just me.
So true.
You see, I had the Tash thing, and you had the Ryan Gosling thing together.
I'm gonna unsee that now.
Oh, no. I swear I've seen him in something else as well, but I don't know if it's just if it's another person. He was very good, but that's all I could see. That's all I can think about. God. Yeah, so that guy. Okay.
Oh my.
So who's based on?
Yeah, that was
Ryan Gosling.
Right, low budget.
That's how he's described in the book.
Okay, I'm definitely going to go and hunt this book out. I think I'm trying to read more, so I might as well try and educate myself.
That's really good is Anthony Ray Hinton's book. It's the one that O'Shea Jackson Jr. played.
Oh, okay.
He wrote his own story, and it is the way he words things is just so great. but also so tragic.
He's one of the
even more tragic. 30 years on death row.
Wow.
I'm about to say that all those stories, like the Herbert story, the Anthony Ray, they could all be films by themselves. To be honest, and here they have like 10 minutes, just to get that across. But
But they do so well at telling the story without having to have so much real estate in the film.
Oh, it's nice. That's a lovely way of putting it. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I was about to say he hasn't got much dialogue and they do so much with it. But
yeah.
I think O'Shea Jackson's turned into a really good actor, to be honest. I think I watched Long Shot the other day and I thought he was brilliant in that as well.
Do you know what? I don't remember him in it, but now that I've heard people say that, I need to rewatch it to have a look.
What, in Long Shot or Just Mercy?
In Long Shot.
Oh, he plays Seth Rogen's best friend. If that makes you remember it.
I've only seen it once, and it was like April last year, wasn't it?
Oh wow!
When it came out, so I need to watch it again.
I watched it recently, so yeah, it's good. I really enjoyed it, actually. Isn't it? It is on Netflix, yes.
Okay, yeah.
I think this will be on some kind of VOD streaming.
It should.
Yeah, I hope so.
Pretty soon.
The greatest way for it to reach as many people as possible.
I can definitely see it being on like Amazon Prime pretty soon. They've got if I was them, I would roll it out as soon as possible. If I was, who's the production company behind it? Is it Warner's? Did you
Warner
say?
Brothers, yeah.
And it's not the kind of film that it doesn't necessarily need to be seen at the cinema. Like I said, it's not like cinematic experience. It's the story that matters. So I feel like, and it's like with The Report, the Scott Z. Burns film that was in cinemas like for what, a week or two. I don't even know if it was out in cinemas here. It might have just gone straight to Amazon Prime.
No, I think it went straight to Amazon Prime.
That was a similar kind of thing that you don't need to see on the big screen, but it's a really good story to learn about. So
yeah. Like you said, there's for a film that we're praising so much. What we're talking about is how good the story is, how good the acting is. Apart from that, it's nothing really to write home about, is it? Like,
I don't know. I really love some of the technical, like the score. I really love.
Yeah, the score is really good,
and I do like some of the cinematography, but I did find it strange. Did you notice at the beginning it was like a wide, and then it went down into kind of like not a 4:3, but a bit smaller?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I don't think it went back to the wide again, which I don't know if it was just the projection or. I was like, this is a weird decision.
Did it do that both times you've seen it?
I don't remember at LFF, but I do remember the first time because I actually complained about it because some of the dial it had been cut off at the bottom. So I was like, it's not being ratioed properly. I was that person for like 5 minutes.
No, I love those people.
And then they fixed it, and I was like, okay, but yeah, then it went down into like a square, and I don't know if it was because it was like a freedom to prison kind of choice, but
he was trying to make a point.
Yeah, other than that, I know what you mean. The technical elements are pretty traditional to the genre. I
think the director just let the actors do the talking. Obviously, that's what they did, but I didn't think it. Maybe the story doesn't need that. It's such an important message to get across that he just like, let's not fuck this one up being too artistically over pleasing or.
Yeah, I just don't think it needs it. I think it would have just distracted from what was really the point of the movie.
So at JumpCast, we always do a out of 5 star rating. I suppose we do. Billie, what would you give it out of 5?
When I reviewed it, I gave it 4.5. I think I'll stick with 4.5. Yeah, it does what it needs to do for me, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since the day I saw it. So I don't know what more it could really do.
Okay. Why didn't it get 5 for you? What makes it that half a mark away from a 5? Is 5 a perfect film?
It's like I'd give like Marriage Story and Lady Bird like a 5 because not only is it the story is great, the script is great, but it's everything about it is just. Whereas like I know what you mean about the pacing, about the artistic choices. There's something missing.
Yeah.
For that extra half.
That extra half, but
it means a lot.
A 4.5 is bloody good. Holly, what would you give it?
4 out of 5 for me. Yep, really, really good. To be fair, I don't often give films, it's very, very rare that I give films 5 out of 5. So for me, my highest score is usually 4.5. So, so no, yeah, 4 out of 5 for me. Yeah.
I would also, I think, give it a 4 out of 5. I think it's a strong piece of cinema that should probably be seen, hopefully, by as many people as possible. If that's in the cinema or on some kind of video on demand, I just recommend people watch it. To be honest, it's definitely worth. I think it's definitely worth the 2 hours 17. I know we have commented that it does struggle to fill that time, but it's definitely worth your time to watch it. So overall, I think that's a recommendation from us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, go and see it, people. So as it's now, we're started 2020, and we're probably about a month in by the time you guys listen to this, and we've seen a few films like Jojo Rabbit and Little Women. I was just thinking, I'm going to ask my colleagues here what films are they most looking forward to in 2020. There's some exciting stuff to come. So Holly, I'm going to pick you first this time.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
So I think I've talked about this quite a lot on Twitter, but the film I am most excited about, nothing to do with Adam Driver for once. Amazing. I've actually got another aspect to my personality. Anyway, Bill and Ted Face the Music is the film I'm most looking forward to this year, because I'm a huge Bill and Ted fan. But specifically Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Like one of my favourite movies of all time. I think it's hilarious. Love Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter, and I just can't believe they're doing a third one. So yeah, and that's out, I think, August 21st of this year. So I'm very, very excited for that. I'm very excitedly anticipating a trailer. Hopefully in the next few months. So.
It's got to happen soon. The trailer, hasn't it?
I haven't heard of that yet.
Have you seen the previous two, Billy?
No, I feel
So
left out.
I mean,
first National Treasure and now this.
Bill and Ted. When was the last one released, Holly? Educate me.
So the first one was 1989, and then the second one was 1991. So that
it's been a really long time.
That is a real gap.
Yeah, it's 29 years, the gap.
Oh my
goodness.
Oh my god.
I know.
And what are you most looking forward to about it? Is it Keanu or?
I mean, obviously. I mean, I'm excited for whatever Keanu Reeves does, but I just love the dynamic between Bill and Ted. They're just hilarious because they're just such idiots, but they're just lovable idiots. And some of the lines from Excellent Adventure, it's just so funny. Like I repeat them like on a daily basis, like just to myself. It's just, yeah, I love them. I'm just so excited. I'm not gonna have like too high expectations for it because it's not that kind of film. It's just fun. It's just like silly fun. So I'm very excited.
I haven't watched the other two in how many years? Have they aged well? We know Keanu has, unbelievably.
To be fair, I've only seen Bogus Journey once. I actually prefer the first one. I prefer Excellent Adventure, but a couple of most of it has held up quite well. A couple of jokes haven't. There's like a homophobic joke, and like probably something else. Probably a racist joke as well. At one point, but I'm probably not remembering that right. But it's held up a lot better than like a lot of other films from that time, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to see it.
Enjoyable.
I'm excited to see it. Isn't it like their daughters are going to be part of it or something? That's what I've read somewhere.
Yeah. I think So they've both got a daughter each. One's called Billie and one's called Taya. So that's like Bill and Ted, but like the female name,
inventive.
Which is crazy.
So they could easily do a spin-off after this.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And Samara Weaving, I think, is playing Bill's daughter, and I can't remember the name of the actress playing Ted's daughter, but obviously they look great. Like the casting is really, really good. Cool,
good first pick, that one. Billy, what about you?
I have two that I'm really excited for. One of them's Come On, Come On by Mike Mills.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have seen 20th Century Women.
I haven't. I've been meaning to watch it,
but I have seen National Treasure 1 and 2, so...
Yeah, you win that argument. But I think.
But I hear it's very good. This 20th Century Women.
I think it was meant to be a follow-up to 20th Century Women, but it's got Joaquin Phoenix as the lead, which mostly I'm excited to see how he works with Mike Mills as a director, because Mike Mills is the kind of guy who would do like dance parties in the morning, and I just couldn't imagine Joaquin Phoenix doing that.
Interesting.
So that's like my main reasoning. But his film's so stylish, and I realized I was looking just before we started recording that it's shot by Robbie Ryan.
Oh yeah.
Story and sorry we missed you, I think.
Oh.
So I'm like, it's going to be even more beautiful than the last one.
Matt Mills, Beginners. I love that film. I like that.
Oh yeah, I haven't actually watched that one, but I have the DVD of it.
Yeah, that's a good Christopher Plummer. I think won an Oscar for it.
Yeah.
It's got Ewan McGregor in it. It's good.
Yeah, I think it was based on his dad.
Oh yes. Yeah, maybe I have seen 20th Century Women.
It's got Annette Bening, Elle Fanning, and Greta Gerwig.
That is a hell of a cast, isn't it?
Yeah, and Billy Crudup, and then Lucas Zuman's the young.
Oh wow.
So I think that Joaquin Phoenix is meant to be playing a grown-up Lucas Zuman, but I'm not sure if it just like was a rumor that it was a sequel and it's a completely different film, because there's not much information right now.
And when's that out? Later in the year?
Keep my eye out. It hasn't got a date yet. It does say 2020, but I think it will do like festivals in the autumn.
So let's keep fingers crossed for London Film Festival or something then. And that'd be...
Yeah.
Try and see that. And you mentioned the second one then. What's your second one?
Bergman Island.
Bergman Island. You're playing on other ones I don't know. Which one's that one?
It's directed by Mia Hansen-Love, and it's about... It was originally going to have Greta Gerwig in it, but she dropped out of it because she directed Lady Bird and then got too busy. So I think she's been trying to shoot it for like 3 years. I think there was 2 actresses in it and they've both dropped out. And then she just decided to be in it herself and shot it with... I can't remember who the main actor is alongside her. But it's about a couple who go to the island where Ingmar Bergman did all his writing.
Okay.
Oh wow!
I'm looking at it now. It's Tim Roth's Vicky Crepes from Phantom Friend,
yeah,
and another name I won't be able to pronounce. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no.
Mia, the girl that played Alice in Alice in Wonderland, the recent one. Mia
Wasikowska.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I think you say it like that. I don't know.
Mia Wasikowska.
You're closer than I'm ever going to get with it. So, okay, that's an interesting choice. The picture of American. I haven't heard of that one either. Again, no date, just 2020. It says you.
Yeah, I think they're both going to be like festival ones later on in the year.
I think that also looks good. I think Vicky Crepes, whatever her name was, whatever, I know that gives him no respect. Vicky, I think she was amazing in Phantom Thread, so whatever, I was looking forward to what she does next. And Tim Roth's excellent. I watched Tim.
That's so great that you've picked 2 really undiscovered like indie films, whereas me with like Bill and Ted, and also like Eternals and all like the Marvel stuff.
Well, yeah, mate, it's gonna.
We all have our own preferences.
It's gonna make my pick look quite stupid. But my pick.
What is it? I want to know.
You probably haven't seen the original either, but my pick is Top Gun: Maverick.
Oh, no.
I've never seen Top Gun.
Neither have I.
It's not going well.
All I know is the song from it, because have you seen Going the Distance?
What the?
No.
With Timothy?
The rom-com. No.
Or Jennifer Gardner?
Justin Long.
Yeah.
Justin Long. Yeah. And is it not Drew
Barrymore? Is it? Oh yes, I'm thinking of the wrong one. I'm thinking of the one with Kevin Smith. Don't worry. Yes.
Anyway, there's a bit where they play the song, and that's all.
That's all you know of Top Gun.
Just the song. Yeah.
Billy. Oh, it's such an important movie. It's also brilliant. But anyway, Top Gun is the sequel to... Maverick Top Gun is the sequel to Top Gun. And Top Gun is probably, along with National Treasure, one of my favourite films. Top Gun was released in 1986. It's got Tom Cruise in it.
Oh, wow.
And this is a sequel. It's about Maverick being pulled back into Top Gun, which is like a training school for the best of the best fighter pilots in America, basically. And I'm not going to talk about Top Guns because there's so many good things in it that you should watch, and what they did and how they filmed the fighter planes. It's incredible. It's brilliant. It's a Tony Scott movie. It's so much fun. Have I sold it to you at all?
It just never appealed to me. I don't know why. Like, I love 80s movies
Yeah.
in general, but I just something about Top Gun just never. Nothing about it.
You could
like,
not.
shouts at me,
You could
watch
not
me,
get more 80s movies than Top Gun. It's incredible. There's the beach volleyball scene. They're singing all together in a nightclub once, but you've lost that love and feeling, which is also a great scene. And like I said, the fight scenes when they're actually the airplanes are doing their thing, is a lot of it was like actually filmed as planes doing crazy things, and it's fun.
Oh, wow.
And it's funny, and it will make you cry at one point, and it's definitely worth watching.
Billy and I have a lot to watch by the sounds of it.
2 National Treasures, Top Gun.
Oh God!
Now I have to catch up on Bill and
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There you
That's
go.
a great thing.
basically everything you've mentioned.
But anyway, this is released in July, so you've got some time to watch all these movies. But I literally cannot wait for this movie. It's a big thing for me. It's a big thing for my family. My mum and dad literally brought me up just watching literally Top Gun on repeat, and we've already said we're all going to watch it together when it comes out. Hopefully the BFI and IMAX, because I think it's been filmed in IMAX. It's going to be amazing, and even the trailer looks incredible. And Tom Cruise literally does all his own flying, so he's nuts.
Really?
Yes, he's an actual pilot.
Oh
Oh my goodness.
That's
He
crazy.
does everything by himself.
I'm surprised he hasn't killed himself yet,
It's one of those.
but
Oh God.
this is a big thing for him to come back to this role, because again, I didn't think I'll ever see it, and I gave up hope for a sequel many years ago, and now finally again this year, I'm finally going since 1986. So I'm 35 and I was born in 1985. So yeah, 34 years.
34 years? Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
wow. And also
I mean, it's a long gap to have between
the
them.
soundtrack is brilliant as well. So maybe just start listening to that. It's again very 80s. But
Cool.
yeah. Anyway, I'm going to try and pick one that you might have seen. Holly, what's your second one?
Briefly mentioned it earlier, but the Eternals out in November. I'm very excited. I don't really know anything about them, which I'm glad about, because I'm just excited to see some new characters in the MCU, and the cast is amazing. I'm just looking forward to seeing what they're like, and how they will eventually fit in sort of with everyone else, if they ever do meet anyone else in the MCU, which I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will.
because after the last 2 Avengers films, I'm sure we'll have a sort of regeneration of the Avengers or something. The fact that we know pretty much nothing about it at the moment is very exciting. I can't wait to start hearing things.
Yeah, we haven't had a trailer yet for this, have we?
No. I don't even know if they've said what the plot's going to be or anything, or given any details about it. We just pretty much know the cast and the character names, I think.
Wow. Which member of the cast are you most excited to see?
Probably, I think Kumail Nanjiani, just because I'm just curious to see. I've not seen him in a lot of things.
He's got
that
rips.
I know. I can't believe. I was just thinking about it the other day. I went on his Instagram. I was like, oh my God! I never would have imagined that he'd look like that. But I think because I've not seen him in a lot of stuff. I think because I've not seen The Big Sick. I think the only thing that I've seen him do.
You need to watch
The Big Sick is great.
Yeah, because he did a voice in. He voiced a character in Men in Black International, and I literally think that's the only thing I've seen him in. So I'm excited to see him in a superhero role. So
have you seen Silicon Valley?
Yeah.
No,
I haven't.
He's very funny in that. So seeing him in that to go into his Instagram the other day when he's actually built like a British shithouse now.
Yeah, beast mode.
It's quite a transformation.
Yeah, and Richard Madden as well. Yeah, because isn't Richard Madden isn't his character basically going to be the first gay MCU character?
That is the rumor.
Pretty much.
But
well, hopefully they actually follow through on that.
They said something like that in
Just
Endgame,
make
and
it.
it's the most pathetic thing I've seen in a while, I think. So hopefully they actually commit to what they say this time. Yeah, be nice.
Yeah, the Russos tried to pat themselves on the back for that in Endgame, but it really was nothing non-consequential. So hopefully,
No, it wasn't.
This is an actual change.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Angelina Jolie being part of the Marvel Universe. I think that's a good casting. Like you, I don't know anything about this as a comic book. I have no idea. So, but I'm a big Marvel fan. So yeah, I'm already first in line for this as well. It was on my list to see as well. But yeah, when's that out?
November something, maybe 20th or something. So it's a long
long.
but...
Black Widow comes first, right? That's March.
Yes. May.
May.
Was it?
May.
End of April. I think it's like May 1st.
If we just say it's this year, then we're definitely going to be right.
Yeah.
It says May 1st on IMDb.
There we go. You are quick at this.
The Eternals is November 6th, so...
I think this is going to be an exciting year for Marvel, to be honest. I think that the trailer for Black Widow the other day looks really good. I know it's about, 7 years too late, but...
Better late than
never. Finally, she gets her own film.
True.
And we can actually... And it looks pretty half decent. So, yeah,
it does look good.
It looks really good. So I'm really excited for that. My second pick is, again, I'm a big blockbuster-y kind of guy. Is the Christopher Nolan's new film that you know absolutely nothing about. Is Tenet. Man. Yeah. You don't seem excited there, Billie.
I don't know. I saw the trailer and everyone was like really in love with it, but I don't know. Action's not really my kind.
Is it not? But it's like spy time travel. Is that?
Spy time travel. Well, he did that.
Yeah.
So, and he did it well. So I'm sure it will be impressive.
On IMDb, it says an action epic revolving around international espionage, time travel, and evolution. I mean, it
sounds so cool.
I before the Star Wars Rise of the whatever I'm gonna call it, I saw the 7-minute introduction, and it was pretty cool, to be honest. It was
because it's one of those films that everybody was talking about on Twitter. They were really excited for, and I had no idea what it was. And then I think it was when I went and saw Rise of Skywalker for the third time. Controversial. I didn't see like a 7-minute thing, but it was just like a teaser trailer. But I thought, oh, that looks really cool. And then when I looked it up and it said something about like World War III and time travel, and it's John David Washington, I was like, okay, that's very, very cool. I'm into this now.
And it's got Patterson in it as well, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Elizabeth Debicki as well. It's going to be
wow.
I think it's going to be good. I'm not a big fan of all his films, to be honest, Nolan, but I'm a big fan of The Dark Knight. Inception, I think it's brilliant. I'm not a big fan of Interstellar, to be honest. So. But this is got my attention. Again, apparently it's out the same day as Top Gun. I've just seen.
Ooh, double bill for you.
You have to
decide
who's going first.
Well, Top Gun. 34 years. All my life, basically.
That'll be a very loud day for you. I imagine there'll be a lot of explosions.
I want to see them both in the IMAX, so it depends if they're both playing, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
So I might have to jump across London a bit if they're playing at 2 different screens, but it's going to be worth it. Any other films that you think deserve a mention? That
I know that everyone's really excited about. Is it Dune?
Oh yeah, the film
and the French Dispatch.
Yeah,
those are the ones I've seen spoken about most.
And that's a good shout. I've also got some other ones on my list. I've got The Invisible Man. The trailer looked good. A Quiet Place Part 2. I was a big fan of that first one. Fast and Furious 9, Billie, I believe this is right up your street. It feels like.
Oh.
Have you seen Fast and Furious films?
Do you know what? The only one I've seen is Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh my lordy.
Sorry.
I don't think I've seen any of them.
Sorry.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
I've seen like bits of some of them, but I've never sat through a whole one.
You should definitely watch 5 and 7, I would say, and probably 1 and 6. And
there's just so many.
And I enjoyed 8. But you could.
Yeah, it's too late.
You could probably.
There's too many.
If you got a spare weekend at some point.
Yeah, I'll be too busy watching nothing.
And Bill and
Ted. Oh yeah. and Top Gun.
I can't do all of these things.
Yeah, it's only so much time. But I'm looking forward to that. The Rock's not in this one, so that's devastating for me as a fan. And also the last one on 2 more on my list actually. The new Bond film. I don't know why I keep getting excited for James Bond films, but I do. No Time to Die. Daniel Craig's reported last film. yeah, trailer looks good.
It does look good. Yeah.
Every time a new Bond film rolls around, I'm saying I'm not going to be excited for this, and every time it does, and I think, yeah, here we go.
And you fall into the trap.
This one does look very good, and I'm really not a Bond fan at all. Like, I went and saw Spectre just because I was a fan of Christoph Waltz, and like that was the only reason I saw it. This one that does actually look genuinely really good.
Yeah, it does look good.
I'm excited.
Okay, and the last one I have to mention is Last Night in Soho, because I'm a big Edgar Wright fan. But again, I know nothing about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard of it, but yeah, I don't know anything about it either.
It's been mainly, well, as it's called Last Night in Soho, it's been filming a lot around Soho in London, so...
Oh,
I've seen people post pictures on Twitter of the vans. I don't know if that's what it was related to it.
It probably is. Every time I'm in Soho, it seems to be, especially a few months ago when they were filming, was just full of filming. And I was like, what film is this for? And then it would click. It's actually the one based in Soho.
Oh.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much. I think it's all pretty clear we're all looking forward to this year. Hopefully none of these films let us down, because I don't think I could live in a world where there's a bad Top Gun film.
Oh no, pressure's on.
I'll be proper depressed if that's rubbish.
You can just cancel it from your mind.
I'll just watch National Treasure 1 and 2 again, so it'll be fun. Last thing we have to mention is if you guys want to come give us a bit of support at JumpCut and JumpCast and become a Patreon member, it'll be a big help for us. We've got big plans for the future. We've got a very exciting 2020. If you do want to become a Patreon member, please check out our website. There's 3 different tiers. I believe they're all Ryan Gosling related. They're actually very clever. And they're all different levels of money, so you can pretty much just pay as little as you want to as much as you want. And each comes with a certain amount of bonuses and thanks. And if you pay the most amount, I think you get a special shout out on this podcast. So thank you to Zoe Baines, Daryl Griffins, and Hugh Addison. And if you want your name ruined like these fine people, check out JumpCut online and go to the Patreon page and join up, and I will massacre your name probably. We really do appreciate everyone's help. It makes our website help grow to where we want it to be and go, and we have some big old plans basically, and it's 2020 is going to be 2020 is going to be a big year for us, and you should get on board because it's going to be amazing. Finally, I've just got to say thanks to my brilliant colleagues who have joined me on this episode. Thank you, Billie. Thank you so much. You did a brilliant on your debut.
Thank you so much for trusting me.
Yeah. Hopefully you can come back soon. You've passed the test, apart from not seeing all the films we spoke about.
I'm gonna get ripped apart.
But your knowledge about smaller films is very good for us. Thank you to Holly as always.
Well, thank you very much.
Have you guys got anything to promote, or anything you want to mention before we go? Any reviews that you have on the page are coming up, or any?
I will have some coming up. I will be reviewing The Man Who Killed Don Quixote and Doolittle in the next couple of weeks for JumpCast.
Sorry.
So
you got the Doolittle one. Cool.
I actually chose it because I have actually been looking forward to this film for about 2 years, over 2 years, so I'm a little bit worried.
I cannot wait what you think of that.
Universal must be crying right now. First Cats, now this.
Yeah, I love Robert Downey Jr. so much, so this is, the things I do for the actors that I admire, so, so that we've got that to look forward to in the next couple of weeks, guys.
Billie, I'm going to mention your Just Mercy and the Injustice System all up on our page. I think people should check that out after listening to this. It's a really good read, and it's brilliantly written by Billie. So you're welcome.
You.
And
I had a lot of fun talking to David for that.
Oh, really?
He is also in the movie. So that's an incentive to go
exactly. It's really good. And I've got nothing coming out. I'm just going to I believe I'm back in a couple of weeks on episode 13, but next week I'm gonna forgot who's coming up. Let me just find that out. And next week's episode, we've got Team USA are back, I believe, with Audrey, Jeff, and Jess, and they will be reviewing The Lighthouse, which I believe everyone's seen apart from me at this point.
Oh no!
I hear it's great. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they see and what they think of this film. And that's all from me. My name's Dave Curtis. Thanks very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. You're all brilliant. JumpCast out.